On this week's episode of The Flop Factor, the guys will go into Jalen Johnson's dominant triple-double performances, the Memphis Grizzlies catching fire the second Zach Edey returns from injury, the Celtics still winning despite losing Jason Tatum for the entire season, Franz Wagner's injury scare, the Wild Wild West, and we will predict a first-time All-Star based on their performances so far in the season. Don't go anywhere. Episode 11 of The Flop Factor starts now. Hello and welcome to episode 11 of the Flop Factor podcast, guys. We've made it 11 episodes. We have everyone back again. Myself, Cody Burton, as the host, RJ Rice, DJ McDermott, and Brayden Laszlo. We have the full group of four back in action here for the Flop Factor. It's a great time to be alive for all of you Flop Factor, avid Flop Factor, oh my goodness, listeners. Okay, but let's go ahead and get into things. Guys, Jalen Johnson posted back-to-back triple-doubles in his last two games. Quinn Snyder is saying there's more coming. There's more coming where that came from. Jalen Johnson is averaging the career best line of 23.8 points, 10.5 rebounds, and 7.8 assists. And with those back-to-back triple-doubles, he now has 4 on the season. And he also, I saw this on ESPN whenever it happened, he had a 15-plus point, 15-plus rebound, and 15-plus assist triple-double against Nikola Jokic. Now, Nikola Jokic has been the king of that such stat ever since he entered the league. He has the most of that in NBA history already in his career. But Jalen Johnson became the first player to ever do that exact stat line against Nikola Jokic in Jokic's entire career. Now, the Hawks lost that game. They've been very hit and miss this season, but against the Wizards, they picked up a big win. Jalen Johnson had 30 points, 12 assists, 12 rebounds, and 2 steals. He's become that superstar-type player for the Atlanta Hawks. He's been their best player throughout the season so far, and you just have to expect, as long as that health is, as long as he stays healthy, more is to come for this from Johnson, and it's very exciting to see the Jalen Johnson breakout truly be in full swing.
I mean, yeah, the Jalen Johnson show. I think really for this Atlanta Hawks organization, you are thankful that Jalen Johnson is finally having this breakout. I mean, even for team leaders, he leads the team in points per game, rebounds per game, and assists per game. It's pretty impressive considering all this is being done without Trae Young, who's only played 5 games this season. I mean, really, for this Atlanta Hawks club, you are 3 games above 500. Now, I think obviously fighting for that playoff push or play-in push, wherever they do end up getting seeded towards the end of the year, will be very crucial in how this Atlanta Hawks squad kind of goes about this. But just for Jalen Johnson by himself, I'll pull it up on my notes here. I mean, I think for him so far, he's had a great year. I mean, who knows? I mean, I know we're going to talk about this later on in the segment, but you could probably put him in another segment of our show as well. But for Jalen Johnson, shout out. I mean, for this Atlanta Hawks organization, you, let's just say, are very thankful.
Yeah, I agree. I think the past couple years, the Atlanta Hawks have been the definition of mid. They have been they've been always around that 500 record, and they haven't really made any sparks in the playoffs as of recent. And I think maybe a bit of a bold take, but I mean, I have a lot more confidence watching a Jalen Johnson-led Hawks team than a Trae Young-led Hawks team. I know he only played 5 games, but in those 5 games, the Hawks did not look good, and Trae Young especially did not look good. And RJ, I know you're talking about leaders, and it seemed like for the past couple of years, Trae Young has really been that only leader on the Hawks, and for Jalen Johnson to step up is a really big factor for this Atlanta squad. I mean, over his last 5 games, he's had 41 points, 30 points, 29 points, 29 points, and 21 points, and having 12-plus rebounds in each game. And like you said, Cody, that 21, 18, and 16 performance that he had against the Denver Nuggets a couple days ago. But in terms of this Atlanta Hawks squad as a whole, I think Jalen Johnson being the leader is very good, and I think players like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who is averaging 21 points a game, and Kristaps Porzingis, who is averaging 19 points a game, are very complementary to this Jalen Johnson breakout that we are seeing in real time.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think just imagine when Trae Young comes back, though. I feel like this offense has been really, really good without him, as you mentioned, but adding a piece like Trae Young alongside Jalen Johnson, who I know RJ kind of touched on it when he was talking, but I mean, you could definitely put him as a first-year All-Star with how he's playing. Like, there's no doubt about it. The consistency's there, both on the defensive end and definitely the offensive end, especially these last 5 games. I know you said it, DJ, but the game that stands out to me is that Nuggets game, not even because of the stat line. Obviously, the stat line is very impressive, but they didn't win the game. And I think that if you're going to have a performance like that, and it's really not for show, like you don't win the game, I think that's definitely a tall tale sign of like the Hawks still have a lot of improving to do. And they're competitive, don't get me wrong, but I think this team still has a long way to go. But shout out Jalen Johnson for absolutely hooping the past like 5 to 10 games. Like, very impressive.
Yeah, he's been on and off the injured report with multiple injuries throughout the season. Whenever he plays, this Hawks team is a different animal. He has been that heartbeat of the Hawks, and I hope that he continues to be that number one option even whenever Trae Young comes back from his injury, because he really deserves to be that number one creator for this team here on here out. I love creating forwards, and he's exactly that. But Saturday, he became only the second Hawks player ever with triple-doubles on both ends of a back-to-back. Bob Sura was the only other one. He did on April 9th and 10th in 2004. Shout out Bob Sura. And Friday's 134 to 133 loss to Denver, it was the second fastest triple-double in the history of the NBA, and reaching that triple-double in only 16 minutes and 44 seconds. And the player he was playing against was Nikola Jokic, but Jokic holds that record with 14 minutes and 33 seconds. Johnson's just an all-around forward. I'm so glad that he's been able to rack up consistent games together. He recently was also named Player of the Week not too long ago in the Eastern Conference. He very well will be an all-star this season as long as the health allows him to, but he is going to be a problem from now to the rest of his career, because I've been ridiculously high on him ever since he got into the league, and now the health is allowing him to really succeed, and he's going to be a future All-NBA guy, potential MVP candidate during his prime. There's a lot to be excited about with the Hawks and their future, as long as Jalen Johnson continues to be that number one guy for him going forward. And now moving on to our next topic, the Memphis Grizzlies. It was really ugly to start the year, to say the least, with that team. But ever since Zach Edey started to get back into that lineup, he has played exactly 11 games so far this season. He's averaging 13.6 points and 11.1 rebounds, along with 1.9 blocks on the year. Ever since he's gotten back for this team, this Grizzlies team has started to hoop. And here recently, they certainly have started to hoop. They are now, let's see, it's 5-6. 5-6 in their last 6 games. They've won 5 out of their last 6 games, is what I should have been saying. They're now up to 11-13 on the season, third in the Southwest Division. And looking in the NBA standings realm, they're back in that playoff contention and play-in contention, with sitting there at the number 9 seed in the West. They're about 2 games back of the Golden State Warriors, 2.5 games back of the Phoenix Suns. This is a team that very well could make the playoffs this season as long as they keep on playing like this. This is all without Ja. Who knows what the future holds with Ja Morant. If they make a trade, let's say they're like the Sacramento Kings or a team like that, they could make a trade where they get a player like Keon Ellis potentially running that point guard position for him for the future. They could even go to, like, let's say Minnesota and get a strong wing for Ja if they really want to go that route. Now, who knows what Ja Morant's trade value is looking like right now. My opinion of Ja is probably a lot higher than a lot of general managers throughout the NBA. But let's not talk about Ja. Let's talk about the positives of this team so far. Throughout this run, Cedric Howard has been honestly, he could potentially be the Rookie of the Year favorite right now. He's been very strong throughout the season. He's been a great wing, and he's picked up good performance after good performance. So far, Howard is averaging 13.3 points per game, and while shooting ridiculously high efficiencies across the field, across the court. And man, I'm very happy. I'm very happy to see the Grizzlies start doing stuff, because Memphis deserves something more than all the stuff that was going on during this offseason, whether it was firing Taylor Jenkins for no reason whatsoever, it seemed, all the coaching outcries with the guy they brought in. But seems like this group started to buy in. This group started to buy in with this coach. Vince Williams looks great as well. I'm a big Vince Williams fan. I love that archetype of no scoring, but you're a great playmaker and a great defender, so it doesn't really matter. I love that type of archetype. I was a big Ben Simmons fan before the confidence went out of his mind as well. But this Grizzlies team, they've started to really pick up the pace this season. It's going to be fun to see how they last the rest of the way.
Yeah, for this Memphis organization, I think you have to have a lot of confidence now moving forward that you're having a win streak like this, considering stuff going on with Ja Morant. I mean, you never know. I mean, if you were to pull a trade like that, I think that would be probably in the best interest of the organization, considering how you're seeing your young talent go. I mean, who knows? It could lead for some more minutes for a certain Javon Small, West Virginia University.
He needs to get healthy, man.
Alum. That too, yeah.
Yeah.
Health is always priority number one with him and Ty Jerome as well. But here's my problem with this winning streak. Every one of these games, I believe, I want to make sure I'm saying this right before. Yeah, it'd be 5 games out of their 5 wins, their last 6, did not come against the Western Conference team that were the 10 seed. Or they were all 10 seed or lower.
All have losing records as well, and the one loss to the Spurs.
You have the Clippers twice, which are we going to mention the Chris Paul stuff? Is that
we'll bring it up. We'll bring it up next topic.
Okay,
actually.
so I'll save that then. The Kings, which they're kind of a dumpster fire. The Blazers, which I think is the most impressive win out of this, because obviously I think Blazers are obviously a young and coming team. Just have to have some time to mesh together. Can I? Oh God, never mind. Okay, and the Pelicans, which
3-21.
Shout out DQ, I guess. If you know, you know. Derek Queen. But I think really that's what doesn't give this winning streak a lot of validity, as a lot of other people are trying to say. But I still think from an organizational standpoint, you have to take what you can get. I mean, this is just the teams on your schedule that you have to play, and you got to win those games. And I think for Memphis, it's a good start that you're winning these games. Obviously, Cody talked about it with Cedric Howard. He's playing really great basketball right now. And for the Memphis Grizzlies, who knows if he does even break out more potentially into this year or even next year. I mean, there's your star right there, and you can obviously do what you want with Ja Morant and all that going on. But so far for the Memphis Grizzlies, really hot start.
Yeah, speaking of health, I think that was one of the biggest things that we talked about with the Memphis Grizzlies when we kind of had those beginning of the season talks. Obviously, it was injuries to Jaren Jackson Jr., Brandon Clark, Scottie Pippen Jr., Zach Edey. I mean, it's just all these injuries were kind of combined, and then there were a lot of questions around the coaching staff, around Ja Morant, and they did get off to a very, very slow start to the season. I think they were like 3-10, 3-11, something like that, where there was a 10-game skid where they went 1-9. But after that 10-game skid, since that 10-game skid, these last 9 games, they've won 7 of their last 9, with their only 2 losses being to the Nuggets and the Spurs, who you could argue are 2 of the better teams in the Western Conference. So I think that it's a little promising. I think they are going to be in contention for a play-in spot as long as they keep the chemistry going and they just keep getting healthier, because obviously we saw how the injuries kind of just ruined them. And in terms of Cedric Howard, I mean, Cody, you already went over the stats, but he's played all 24 games. He's been an instant impact, and he's been an impact in every single game this season. He's only started 11 of those games, and with the stats that he's putting up, I mean, he's just such a strong presence. I mean, if he keeps improving, I mean, you could make a case not only for Rookie of the Year, for Sixth Man of the Year. I mean, if he keeps coming off the bench and he keeps if he keeps up his production, especially, I mean, for the Grizzlies in total, their division right now, I mean, they're right in the middle. They have Houston and San Antonio in front of them. I don't think they're going to reach them, but the teams behind them are Dallas and New Orleans. So I think they could stay at that 3 spot, and I think they could be in play-in contention as long as they stay healthy, which we saw was a bit of an issue beginning of this season.
Yeah, I mean, I see both sides here. I think that the Grizzlies getting off to such a slow start with all the drama around them with Ja Morant and the coaching staff, I do think also that it is a smart move to try to deal Ja Morant elsewhere, just to get a solid piece and somebody who truly wants to be there and bought into the culture. And I like what you said about this win streak, RJ, or the amount of wins they've gotten over who they've gotten them. It's not that impressive, but if you're the Memphis Grizzlies right now, the West is so top heavy that if you solidify and get these wins you're supposed to get now, you're only going to make life easier for you come April and playoff time, because you're more than likely going to be into a play-in spot with how weak this West is. I mean, Dallas, you can make an argument, could get hot, but we just haven't seen enough from them. Personally, I have not. And then obviously New Orleans in that division as well has just been a dumpster fire this year. But I mean, for Memphis, you play who you play on your schedule. You can't really discredit the teams they're playing. But I mean, looking back, I know DJ said this, but 1-10 and that stretch of 10 games is really not good, especially with you have a chance to prove yourself with these teams that you're playing, and obviously losing almost every time except for the Mavericks, who, as I mentioned, aren't really that good this year. Just keep stacking wins, and then you should be fine come April.
Yeah, and I want to hit on this because we were talking a lot about schedules of teams. Well, the Grizzlies went through a gauntlet at the start of the year. Their schedule was the hardest in the NBA to start the season outside of a couple of teams, but they have the 20th hardest remaining schedule in the NBA, so they have the 10th easiest remaining schedule. And the only teams in the Western Conference that have easier schedules than them going forward are the Houston Rockets, the Portland Trailblazers, and the Sacramento Kings. The Sacramento Kings, they aren't making any ground. Now, the Trailblazers, that's the team you're competing with for the play-in contention. And then the Rockets, they're ahead of you anyways. And it's honestly crazy to think how good the Rockets have been with such a hard schedule to start the season. But the hard teams, according to Tankathon.com, on a premier mock draft / NBA draft lottery prediction site, the Grizzlies' hard teams, the top quadrant teams that they still have remaining are the Thunder twice, the Pistons once, the Nuggets 3 times, the Lakers twice, the Rockets 3 times, and the Knicks once. And now the lower quadrant teams that they still have to play, they still got the Pelicans twice, they got the Wizards twice, the Pacers once, the Clippers twice, the Nets twice, and the Kings twice. So you're playing a lot of those lower quadrant teams. Those are games that you should be able to win, and they'll be healthy, knock on wood, by the time these games come up and they start playing these games. But like, strength of schedule is something you can look at. Because like, you look top of the league in the remaining schedule strength is the Oklahoma City Thunder and Denver Nuggets. Those are two high quality teams. But you just think, whenever you have a below 500 remaining schedule strength overall win percentage, you have to expect they're going to be able to maintain these wins after they were, I mean, it's a little bit of a gift after having such a hard start of the season. They've already started this easy stretch of their schedule. They have another hard stretch remaining. But this is a Grizzlies team that started to find their footing. And especially being such a young team, you can't really just knock off on them for playing at the very beginning of the year. Teams like the Warriors, Suns, Lakers, Raptors, Pistons, Rockets, Thunder, Knicks, Celtics, and Cavaliers and Spurs all in like the same stretch of games together. That's a gauntlet. You can't really judge a team for playing multiple top quadrant opponents in such a short span of games whenever your best player at that point was Cedric Howard, and who was a rookie, and John Morant was having all of those troubles with staying on the court, with beef with the coach, all kinds of stuff. Now John Morant's off the court, and the team's starting to pick up. They're starting to form a brotherhood a little bit, so I would not be shocked to see this team continue. I love Sandy Aldama's game as well. He had a nice game against the Trailblazers last night, but there's a lot of turmoil around this Grizzlies team at the start of the season. They've turned that turmoil into success, and I would not be shocked to see them either at least playing a little bit of basketball there in April and May. But moving on, we will be talking about the elephant in the room here. Chris Paul was let go, or sent home as they worded it, from the Los Angeles Clippers in what is announced to be the final season of his career. Now, there's no reason for, I'm a massive Chris Paul fan, so I'm going to have to rant for a little bit here, because there's no reason that you should cut your franchise icon, the best, probably the best player to ever play for your franchise. Not like at the point that he was on the team. So obviously Kawhi Leonard's probably the most talented player to ever play, but he was at the end of his career by the time he got there. But it's just, you get Chris Paul to have this farewell tour. And on top of that, you get Chris Paul knowing what you're getting with Chris Paul. You're getting a guy who likes to be a leader, who likes to tell people to play, Maybe some coaches don't like that, but that's what Chris Paul is. And he has the accolades, he has the credit, he has a future Hall of Fame career. He's going to probably become a head coach after he retires, or at least an assistant coach somewhere at some point, except if he goes into like TV or something. But I would not be shocked if he goes into coaching afterwards. You're getting that. You're getting the guy that is an absolute leader, that's led teams, that's been that veteran guy through all these years. And the Clippers sucked. They sucked at the start of the year, and they still are playing bad right now. And he makes one adjustment. He tells Kawhi, hey, start switching on the screen. You're not picking up on the screen. This is all from what Chris Haynes said on NBA on Prime a couple nights ago, last Friday. But he was telling Kawhi, let's switch on screens now. You're still on the minutes restriction. They're beating us on screens right now. It's the game against the Mavericks, and they end up winning this game because of this exact thing that Chris Paul said. They started switching on screens. Klay Thompson was not hitting threes anymore because he wasn't finding openings, because they were swapping screens. The player on the low block was jumping in Thompson's face. No shot could get off there. And then after that, after they won the game because of a decision that the coaches did not see, but Chris Paul saw, Jeff Van Gundy, an assistant coach of the Clippers, called a meeting with Chris Paul one-on-one and asked him if he changed the defensive assignment. Chris said, no, I didn't change it up. I just suggested, hey, we might want to have somebody else guard Klay right now because Kawhi is not warm yet. And then that Chris Paul, Jeff Van Gundy told Chris Paul, listen, you might have had that leeway in other places to be able to change up defensive coverages, but you don't have that leeway here. Well, I mean, whenever it's the one game you won in a span of 7 games of losses, I think that he should probably have that leeway. And then a couple days later, you cut him. And you cut a guy that chose to be in Los Angeles with the Clippers for the last season of his career, of a long, historic career for a legendary point guard. You're like, well, Jeff Van Gundy doesn't like you. Ty Lue doesn't like you, so you're gone now. So now Chris Paul's a free agent. I would love to see him pop on a team like the Thunder or some team like that, or even back on the Spurs and just go and try to win a championship and just laugh in the Clippers' face. But yeah, what are your all's takeaways from this? Because I just probably went on for about 8 minutes, because this is by far the more appalling moves I've ever seen, and it really just, my respect levels for the Clippers franchise were so low, and somehow they've gone even lower.
I'm not shocked. And honestly, I wish I didn't have to say that, but considering how the Clippers organization is being run right now, they're running for tickets because of who are the big names that are in the lineup. Not saying that they're playing the same level they once were, besides arguably what James Harden's trying to carry with this Clippers organization, which if I were him, I would want out of here, because this is just it's a dysfunctional organization. And I think with all the aspiration stuff that started the year, and then you get your franchise icon, arguably him and Bob McAdoo, didn't he play? Yeah, those are like your 2 top guys, and arguably I would say Chris Paul is probably above that, and you just treat him with so much disrespect, and it's almost like in an extent of a playing career, respect your elders. Chris Paul led this Clippers team along with Blake Griffin, Lob City. Lob City's run was the best thing that the Clippers have ever had in their organization's history. And it's not even close, in my personal opinion. And I really just think that just kicking him off to the curb just because your coach doesn't agree with how he is, which guess what? You should have known that, because guess what? He was in the organization. It's very simple to know. Like, somebody in that room or in that front office would have said, oh, yeah, that's how Chris Paul plays. It's how he's a player's coach. That's just how he is. That's how he understands the game. He wants to get better. He wants to win. Like, it just baffles me for this Clippers organization, because I think they are not going to go anywhere with Ballmer as an owner. And I think clearly that his moves and you build a nice, shiny arena for your, let's just say, expletive bad team, plays in. They suck. There's no getting around this. And obviously, when an organization, trust me, as a Cleveland Browns fan, I can tell you this. If an organization sucks for a while, guess what? It's an organizational issue. And this right here, arguably, I mean, this might be going maybe a little bit too far. But if this is how Ty Lue is treating this organization, I think he should be gone as well. But it's my opinion. And obviously, here, Cody, what you said about what Jeff Van Gundy told him, hearing that from Jeff Van Gundy is certainly something. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, I agree with you, RJ, about saying that Ty Lue should be gone, especially after reading the report that that Chris Paul and Ty Lue were not in contact or didn't talk for months.
Yeah,
like
weeks,
that,
months.
like whatever, weeks, months. Still, that's crazy. When you're on an NBA team and you're playing consistently multiple times a week, you need to be in contact, especially with your leaders. Like the biggest thing, I mean, the Clippers are 6-18. They are terrible. They are very bad. I mean, I had high expectations going into the season for them just because of how many veterans they had on the team. Obviously, that hasn't panned out. But the worst part for me as a Spurs fan, Chris Paul played all 82 games last season for the San Antonio Spurs, and you saw how good of an impact he had on players like Wemby, like Stephon Castle. I think Chris Paul is one of the reasons why Castle won Rookie of the Year last year is because of that veteran leadership. But for me, seeing how he impacted the Spurs with his leadership, obviously you had the medical issues with Greg Popovich and Mitch Johnson had to step in, but you have a young coach like Mitch Johnson. Chris Paul was that veteran leader to kind of help lead the way for these young guards, for these young players. And, I mean, Spurs, completely different organization from the Clippers, but you saw his impact. He played all 82 games at his age. First of all, that's crazy. Second of all, he decides to go back to his old team, and you saw the media reaction when Chris Paul decided to sign with the Clippers. Everybody loved it. Even Clippers fans, even people that aren't Clippers fans loved it because they were just like, this is iconic player. This is his farewell tour. We wish him the best. We hope he does great on the Clippers, and this is how it ends. If you told me that this is how it ends in the beginning of the season, I would have told you that that's false. There was no way that it could have ended like this. So I agree with you, Cody. I lost tremendous respect for the Clippers organization, especially with how long Chris Paul has been in the league, how much of an impact he has had on the league, and to just drop him like that after being such a monumental piece for your organization, for the league and as a whole, it's not a bad look for the Clippers, or it's not a bad look for the NBA. It's a bad look for the Clippers only, just with how this situation has went down. It's leaves a bad taste in my mouth for me personally.
Did we see the Ty Lue video?
Yes, that's what I was just about to talk about.
I'm just going to say this now, Brayden, before you go. For a head coach in the National Basketball Association to actively go out, and now this case, not only a former player, but a franchise legend who will have his number in that rafters if Steve Ballmer's smart enough, say like that in front of it. Man,
there's not one good thing about
I
this
don't
situation.
think we're talking about the same video.
What are you? Oh my! Oh, I know what you're talking about. I was going to mention that.
I don't know.
I'll let you.
I don't know how truthful this is, but I did see a video of Chris Paul allegedly talking to Ty Lue's girlfriend or wife or whatever, and then hearing reports that they didn't speak. I don't know if that's correlated or not. I mean, I love the drama. I love all that, but I mean, what Ty Lue said after about Chris Paul's departure, if it helps the Clippers, I think this is kind of interesting. He said, I don't think it necessarily helps our team. I mean, I don't think the reason why we're 5-16 is because of Chris Paul's play. I just think it wasn't a good fit for what he was looking for. What do you mean? I mean, this is his farewell tour. I mean, he doesn't. I mean, if you're signing with the Clippers with that roster, you know pretty well that you're not winning a championship. You're just going back home. You're going to a team that you had great memories with. And for your coach to kind of say that after the departure it's kind of insane in my opinion. But did you pull up the video?
Huh? No. I just saw it's actually a post that just appeared on my Instagram of Chris Paul. But you finish what you're saying, and then I'll go on.
Yeah, but Chris Paul knew he wasn't going to win a championship signing with the Clippers. He just wanted to go out with a team that, honestly, best years of his career there with Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, Jamal Crawford. That team was very, very fun. I think as NBA fans, we all look fondly back on that Clippers team, that era. I mean, they're so fun to use in 2K13.
Yeah.
I mean, just the amount of ballers they had. Chris Paul, obviously, the head man for that team. So it's kind of sad to see it in like this. I mean, I don't think anybody saw this coming. But, I mean, it kind of goes to show that Ty Lue may not be like the best coach. I mean, I've always liked Ty Lue as a Cavs fan, obviously winning the 2016 finals, but since then it just feels like a downhill slide for him in his coaching career.
He was Blatt's replacement, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Yep.
You can't get much worse than David Blatt, I would say.
David Blatt.
So, obviously, and you have LeBron. You're going to – back at that time. But what did you have, DJ?
It was just a graphic or a post that I just saw on Instagram from Statline, and said a huge reason CP3 signed with the Clippers was because he wanted to be closer with his family because they did live in L.A. After being sent home, he has not left the gym with his son. He has constantly posted videos of him being in the gym with his son in L.A., and I think that's another big reason. I mean, Brayden mentioned it, that they're not going to – we knew the Clippers weren't going to win a championship. We knew that they'd probably maybe be in contention for a play-in spot, something along those lines. But the reason why he went to L.A. was because of the culture that he kind of placed there. The culture that him, Blake Griffin, and DeAndre Jordan placed there, and then also because of the family. So I think the family part is another huge thing. I mean, the fact that his family lived in L.A. and all of a sudden, hey, I played for the Clippers. I set this precedent for the Clippers. I want to go back and farewell tour, and this is how it ends. It's really devastating from every angle.
I would even say from CP3's side, stay at home.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's really not worth it.
I
mean, unless God forsaking that hunger and fight to win a championship lures in your head every second, go for it. If not, family's at home.
Are you talking about the Tyronn Lue practice video? Yeah, that was insane. That was actually insane.
I thought it was fake.
I did
first.
too. And then yeah.
Yeah,
It's depressing, man.
it's very, very unfortunate. Even like your own franchise legends, like Blake Griffin, is just like he's furious about this. He was going on air just ranting about how terrible a decision it is.
Did you see what he said to the one fan on his?
Yeah.
He's find your peace or something.
Find your peace, Comma King, is what he said to a fan that was switching his fandom from the Clippers to the Lakers.
Yeah, it was like a 19-year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a former Clippers ball boy, might I add.
Yeah.
Like, dude, let's be real. They're in the same city. If you have two choices, and like, let's say if he's a younger kid, if you ask me, would you rather be a fan? If you got to pick your fandom, Lakers or Clippers? It's Lakers, and it's not even close.
Yeah, like,
oh my God! Yeah.
It's like other cities, like other instances of the cities. Like LA is different because like the Angels aren't good and have really never been good outside of like a couple of runs in the 2000s. The Clippers were fun during Lob City, but at least like football's pretty even, and majority of Chargers fans still reside in San Diego though. But still,
the Chargers don't have fans.
The San Diego supporters, I guess.
Shout out San Diego. They should
the
stay in
OGs,
San
the
Diego.
They should have, but like I mean, you got like at least with New York teams, like the Knicks and Nets were two cheeks of the same butt for most of the time, and now the Knicks are majority of the time better. But it's like dual teams cities are so interesting because a lot of the time one's a lot better than the other, and that's what the instance is with the history of the Lakers and Clippers. But moving on, we spent a lot of time on Chris Paul as expected, but I'm just gonna go ahead and hit on this. We did plan to talk about the Franz Wagner injury. I put this together last night whenever I saw this injury, and it looked like he snapped his ACL in half, but he lucked out somehow, some way. I guess his ligaments are made out of Jello or something because he only sprained his ankle. He's going to be out for 2 to 4 weeks, which may knock him out of the Emirates NBA Cup, but for the long-term goal of the Orlando Magic and their championship aspirations, that's not meant to be a joke with aspiration, but this season, at least he'll be healthy for the most part of that. But that was a really rough-looking injury, and it's the closest thing I've ever seen to a hospital ball in the NBA. Anthony Black just chucked up a lob very late with 2 people around Franz, and he got landed on by Ariel Hukabari. But now moving on, good job for Franz for staying healthy. Your ligaments held together. But the Celtics, speaking of injuries, they are missing a franchise icon in Jason Tatum for majority of the season. There's a chance he comes back in the playoffs or at the final couple weeks of the season, but Jaylen Brown's been taking the reins. Joe Mazzulla is showing that he is a phenomenal head coach, even without that star power. They traded guys like Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis in the offseason as well, and also lost Al Horford, but Namis Queta has been a phenomenal center. He's been actually probably a top 15, a 10 center in the NBA this season. And Jaylen Brown's scoring buckets at will. I mean, Derek White's being Derek White. Peyton Pritchard's doing great in that starting role. But this Celtics team, it's not even like they're just a good team. They've still been dominant. They've still been a dominant team this season. Looking in the standings, they're number 3 in the East at 15-9, and they lead the NBA in nail-to-nail wins. Are you serious?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Are you serious? They've led throughout the beginning to end in 6 games this season. That's more than the Thunder, who we already know how much records they've broken this season. That's more than the Pistons, who are currently at the top of the East. That's more than the Lakers. That's more than the Nuggets. But this Celtics team is still just as dominant as they were before, and it's like Joe Mazzulla is just that good of a head coach. That's what I've learned. He's an offensive mind that, I mean, not to bring up West Virginia, he was under the tutelage of good old Bob Huggins for the defensive side of things. So he has that defensive mindset on top of his smart. He knows how to draw an ATO. He has a strong offensive mind as well. And also, he's just a complete sicko. That's beyond the point. Like, he's insane, and that's a compliment. Like, basketball coaches, if you're a good basketball coach, you have to be insane. Look at Mark Daigneault. Look at Rick Pitino. Look at Calipari. I mean, they all have that one thing wrong in their mind that just makes them go like hard all in all the time. And that's what Joe Mazzulla has, and he's a phenomenal coach in the Celtics team. They're a phenomenal team, guys.
Sorry to compose myself there for a minute. For this Boston Celtics organization, I'm going to say this. It's actually the polar opposite of what we just talked about. See how you have a competent organization. The Boston Celtics. You're 15-9. You are out your best player. Guess what? You're still winning games. You're third in the Eastern Conference, and you overtook the red-hot Raptors. And I'm going to say this right now. I mean, the Boston is one of, I think to me, one of the best ran organizations in the NBA, even though they're about to go through the process of a sale.
I think they already have. I think this is the first
year.
Yeah, it's the first year with the new ownership.
Okay,
that's why they cut the cap a little bit.
That's right.
Yeah.
But for this Boston Celtics organization now, even that you're just continuing that success, I think it's really great for them. And also, really, what it shows me off this, I think they've won 7 out of their last 8.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
With
a 5-game win streak.
These wins are great wins. Toronto, right under them. Like I said, they just passed them. The Lakers, obviously, I believe that was
without Luka or LeBron. Yeah, but still, it was on Prime. I was watching that. That was Belt.
Sources say that was Belt. Obviously, the Wizards, the Knicks, good win. I'd say pretty good win. The Cavs, they're kind of going through their own struggles, but that's still a decent win. And then obviously winning against the Pistons, big win. Top of the East. Shout out Detroit though. Before moving on or continuing about Boston though, they've been on another level. And then the Orlando Magic. I will say though, for this Boston Celtics team, what I want to see is if they can continually keep this up. There's a lot of season left. Obviously, don't know when Tatum will come back, if he will in this regular season.
If he does come back, it'll be April.
Depending, obviously with depending. I think barring like obviously an insane collapse, I think in some form they get in the playoffs. Top 6. I mean, obviously it depends. Depends on how they play against these quality teams. But upcoming on their schedule, I mean, hey, you have Indiana twice at the late end of December, get a couple of wins there. But you have Detroit again here pretty soon on the 15th. And then December 20th at Toronto. So I will be, for the short-term future for the Boston Celtics, that's where I'm looking at in their matchups. And I think if they perform well in those and kind of control business, because they got a stretch where they play Utah, Sacramento, and the Clippers to end off January and to end off December and begin January. And then you also have Chicago in that list too. Just saying, if they take care of who they need to take care of, and you look really competitive and get a couple of those wins against those better teams, this Boston Celtics team can actually pull off something special.
Yeah, I agree. This Celtics team has really impressed me this season. I think maybe not the biggest question for the Celtics, but the biggest question for Celtics or for NBA fans watching a lot of the moves that the Celtics made this offseason, especially with losing Kristaps Porzingis and Al Horford, getting rid of them in the offseason, and then also losing Jason Tatum to that injury that he suffered. I think the biggest question for NBA fans was, will Jaylen Brown be able to step up as that number one option for the Celtics, because let's be honest, for the past couple of years, he's been behind Jason Tatum. He's always been that number two option. I think the only time that he's really stepped up as that number one option was during their finals run, where Jaylen Brown got that Finals MVP. But Jaylen Brown has showed out. He's averaging 29 points per game, averaging 6 rebounds and 5 assists. I mean, he's really showed out, and I think he is definitely the main reason why why the Celtics are having as much success as they've been having. RJ kind of took my point away from all these key wins. I mean, it's kind of the opposite of the Grizzlies. Like, they've won 7 of their last 8, but the biggest difference is that they're winning against high caliber teams. They're winning against teams that we could talk about when it comes playoff time. I think with that Grizzlies win streak, a lot of those teams aren't going to be mentioned much in March or April. But for this Celtics team, I mean, if they can keep if they can be in that upper half of those East teams and compete with those higher squads and also stay healthy, I mean, you could look at the Celtics being back up there for one of the better East teams and kind of exceeding everybody's expectations and maybe giving Jason Tatum a reason to come back if they make the playoffs and if they make a deep run.
Yeah, I mean, this Boston Celtics team is inevitable. I mean, you can never write them off. I think that's the kind of Celtics attitude that Joe Mazzulla has really brought in. I feel like you can never count this team out regardless of who's on the court or not on the court. I mean, Jaylen Brown has been absolutely electric on the offensive side. And then the game I want to point out is the Cavaliers game. I mean, a 2-point win, but Peyton Pritchard dropping 42 points on 15 to 22 shooting is absolutely insane. I mean, that was on the road. The Cavs up until that point were undefeated in the throwback jerseys on the throwback court. And then the Celtics just come in there and have their way, really. I mean, it was a competitive game, but Peyton Pritchard cannot be stopped, couldn't miss. They shot 35% from 3, not the greatest, but 49% from the field. So not entirely a dominant performance, but this kind of goes to show that going forward, the Celtics team can win in so many ways, and that's going to be something to keep an eye on going forward to see if they can keep that level of play up in those close competitive games with teams of a higher caliber. I mean, they've showed it so far. They blew out the Lakers, obviously no LeBron or Luka, but overtaking the Raptors and then going on the road to Milwaukee will be a fun one for sure.
Yeah, and I want to give a big shout-out to one of my favorite players in the Celtics team. He has a great nickname as well, Jordan Walsh. He's averaging 7.1 points and 4.8 rebounds as well in the season, but he started to get some extended run, averaging 9.5 in the last 10, shooting 66.7% from the field, 50% from 3, 5.2 rebounds as well, along with 1.3 steals in those last 10. But he had 22 against the Wizards, 22-7 with 2 steals. He had 17, 4, and 2 steals, 1 steal and 2 blocks against the Lakers. Against the Cavaliers on November 30th, he had 14 points, 2 steals, along with 11 rebounds as well in that double-double. But Jordan Walsh, he started to really mature as a player. Jaylen Brown talked about it in the post-game interview with NBA on Prime, how he's really started to mature as a player, and that's the main reason why he started to play so good. He has a good confidence in this game. He's a big-time defender as well. And he also has a phenomenal nickname that people have started to call him. I mean, Karl Malone was the mailman. Al Horford was the milkman. Now Jordan Walsh is the garbage man. That is what they call him, because he is able to grab all the rebounds. He does all the dirty stuff. He's the garbage man, and that's why they call him that. And he's a big-time player. He's that glue guy for this Celtics team. And apparently, according to Jaylen Brown, that he doesn't like to be called that. He doesn't like having the garbage man as his nickname. It makes you think that you're not a good player, but he does all the dirty stuff, and that's why he's able to lead this team to victory time and time again, and he's a big-time glue guy for this team and for this team going forward. Now moving on to the other conference, the West. This conference is ridiculous. Is all I'm going to say. The top 6 seeds in the conference in their last 10 games are either 7-3 or better. In their last 10, that's insane. Okay, I like they're all just top of the top teams in the league are in the West once again. It's been the That's been the trend consistently. Now, obviously, last year you had the Cavaliers and Celtics, who were number 2 and number 3 in the league behind the Thunder, but the Thunder ended up winning the championship. The year before, the Celtics won it, but the year before that, it was another Western Conference champion, and then the year before that, it was a Western Conference champion, the Nuggets and the Warriors. But in the West this season, the Thunder are 23-1 at the top of the league. The Lakers are 17-6. The Nuggets are 17-6. Rockets are 15-6 with the hardest schedule in the league. The Spurs are 15-7. The Timberwolves are 15-8. The Suns are 13-10. The Warriors are 13-12. All top 8 teams are currently above 500 right now. The Grizzlies are on the come up. The Trailblazers are very hit and miss, but they are in there as a 10 seed. Them and the Mavericks are half a game apart at 9-15 and 9-16. But these top 6 teams are just phenomenal. There's so much positive. The Thunder are going in the last 10 games. The Thunder are 10-0. The Lakers are 8-2. The Nuggets are 7-3. The Rockets are 7-3. The Spurs are 7-3, and the Timberwolves are 7-3. And the Spurs don't even have Wembanyama yet. But I mean, this team, the top of this conference is ridiculous, and it's really hard to see where the outlook of this conference goes the rest of the way. But what are y'all's opinions? Just what overall thoughts on the West so far?
The West is the better conference. I think that's kind of, to some, pretty obvious. But I think especially, though, what's been impressive, Cody, you talked about the last 10 games. All 6 of these teams, 7-3 and better. That is really difficult to do as an entire conference. I mean, when you're looking at the East side, you really have what? You have the Raptors have been 5-5, and you have the Heat that goes 6-4. I mean, the Western Conference just has a lot of that star power and that overall talent gap between the West and the East. Obviously, you can tell it's by a pretty good margin. But I think I'll let DJ talk about the Spurs, because I think them being up there is obviously one of the more impressive teams being up there. But I also think, I mean, what stuff that the Lakers have been doing so far, getting over the Nuggets, I think is a good thing as well. That kind of, obviously LeBron's point streak was, or 10-plus points in every game streak, finally been broken. Which, I forget what the stat was. I believe Katie had to have it for 10 straight years?
Yeah.
In a row, if he played all 82, I think.
Yeah. It was something like that.
Something like that, which is insane record, insane NBA history there being broken. But obviously with that Lakers team, having Luka doing what he's doing, and then also having Austin Reeves, which you might hear his name from me a little later. But I think for this Western Conference overall, though, the talent is just, it's everywhere in this Western Conference. I mean, you even have some of the teams below them. Golden State's trying to do something, climb back up. They've won their last 2 games. I mean, you have the Phoenix Suns, which is was not expecting to have them be 13-10, but they're also at that 7 spot as well. This Western Conference overall is that, I'd say 1 to 8 range, just a really stacked conference.
Yeah, I agree. And I think when we did our episodes predicting the Western Conference, I think this is basically what we lined up, was that it was very top heavy, was that it was going to be these anywhere from 4 to 6 teams that were going to be competitive. And I think that's what we're seeing right here, right now, was the Thunder, Lakers, Nuggets, Rockets, Spurs, Timberwolves, all interchangeable. Obviously, the Thunder are in a league of their own right now. But in terms of just, I will mention the Spurs briefly. Castle and Wemby are both projected to be back very, very soon. Castle probably this week, and Wemby probably in the next week or 2. But the fact that they're 7-3, and I'm pretty sure Castle has missed 8 of his last 10 games or something like that, and Wemby obviously has been out for a couple weeks now. So the fact that they've kept up, I mean, they had a hot start to the season. The fact that they're still 15-7 and they're still the 5 seed in the West is very, very promising. I think it shows how deep. I mean, you have a veteran like Harrison Barnes. He's stepped up a couple games for the Spurs, which I'm very, very happy about. But I'm really excited for everybody to see where the Spurs were about a month ago when the season started, or a month or two ago when the season started. But just the Western Conference, I mean, these top 6 teams, these are some of the top competitors in the NBA right now, and I think they're just going to keep getting better. I think with all these teams are getting hot at the right time. I think the Thunder are going to stay hot. Everybody knows that. But in terms of the other 5 teams, Lakers, Nuggets, Rockets, Spurs, Timberwolves, I feel like the ceiling is just so high for them and so high for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, this conference, you said it best, is very, very top-heavy. I'd say from 9 all the way down. You don't really know who's going to sneak into the playoffs. Hopefully my Utah Jazz do, but we'll see about that. But
It's not looking good for the Jazz.
no. I mean, I wouldn't expect them to rip off, 3 wins to get back up there? Yeah, I don't think so. But, I mean, the Thunder have been so impressive this year. Undefeated at home. Obviously, the only loss coming to Portland on the road on a 15-game win streak. And then you have the Lakers. The Lakers have been very impressive, in my opinion. I think that obviously with LeBron coming back, it adds a new dynamic to the offense and defense, especially with his age. But with Luka, Austin Reeves, LeBron, you added a little bit of defense there with DeAndre Ayton. That's a very, very tough team to beat, and it's shown so far. Obviously, you got the Denver Nuggets, who I think honestly made a great move trading MPJ for Cameron Johnson. I think that just upgraded that position for them, and you've seen it so far. And then the Rockets, obviously, with KD, have been really, really impressive. I know DJ just talked about the Spurs. But I think, honestly, the most impressive team to me being up here in the top 6 is the Minnesota Timberwolves, especially with how much turmoil and turnover they've had this past offseason. Let me look here. Yeah, Anthony Edwards doing his thing, 28 points a game. You got Rudy Gobert down there. Obviously, Julius Randle, who has been a really, really nice addition, obviously, coming over last year. But, I mean, he seems to fit in really well with this roster. You got Jaden McDaniels, obviously, Naz Reid. But, I mean, the West is going to be a gauntlet for anybody. I mean, it's easy to say now, oh, the Thunder are just going to run away with it. But come playoff time, it's a whole new season. You don't know what's going to happen. And there's definitely 6 teams that are all worthy of winning the West.
Yeah, definitely. Now moving on to our next topic. Sudden stardom. I mean, a lot of players are grasping at their first ever All-Star game appearance this season. There's a lot of guys throughout the NBA on both the East and the West. And basically what the question is, predict a first-time All-Star based on their performance so far. All right, guys, let's go.
I will make mine a little bit quicker because I think this one is one of the more obvious ones, but I think it can't go unmentioned. From the 2-seeded Los Angeles Lakers, I'm going with Austin Reeves, man. He's been averaging 28.4 points a game. He had 5.5 rebounds and 6.7 assists per game. And you're shooting 50% from the field. I think really why this Lakers team is so far up there in that, like we said, packed Western Conference standings, the duo of him and Luka, my goodness, man. Austin Reeves deserves a bag. That's just personal opinion. I think that's a pretty easy one to agree with. But I think really for this, especially for Austin Reeves, he's been putting unreal numbers up. You got to reward him with an all-star team appearance. I think it's only right.
Yeah, I might go with a bit of bull take here. I don't know how you guys are going to react. But I think if you're a casual NBA fan, you're looking at the Detroit Pistons and you're saying, Cade Cunningham, who else is on that team that's doing pretty good right now? My prediction is going to be Jalen Duran. I think Jalen Duran is going to be a first-time All-Star this year. I think he has stepped up big time. Maybe even most improved player. I mean, he's been doing phenomenal this year. He's averaging 18.8 points per game, 11.5 rebounds per game. He's been that big man that Detroit has been looking for the past couple of years. And you look at the Detroit Pistons, obviously they're the 1 seed in the East. I mean, I'm thinking if Jalen Duran and the Detroit Pistons can keep up how hot they are right now and keep that kind of staying up with those top teams in the East, I think we could see 2 Detroit Pistons be on the All-Star team at least this year.
I mean, how could you not have Jalen Johnson? The way he's been scoring, assisting, rebounding so consistently so far, if he keeps this up, there's no doubt in my mind he won't be a first-time All-Star.
Yeah, I'm going to go with another center in that 2022 draft class. I'm going to go with Chet Holmgren because, I mean, J-Dub's not eligible for an All-Star game. You're going to have 2 All-Stars on the Thunder. Too good of a team to not have 2 All-Stars despite it being a team built behind Shea and Deft. But Chet Holmgren this season is averaging 18.6 points, 8.1 rebounds, 1.7 assists, along with 1.5 blocks a night, which on paper, it's like that's solid stats. That's not like, that's borderline all-star stats. You can see him get in there. But the fact he's shooting 57.5% from the field, 36.4% from 3, and he's only playing 28.9 minutes per game putting up these stats because of how he's, along with every single other star in the Thunder, he sat out a plethora of fourth quarters this season because of how early the Thunder are winning these games. But he's been that guy. He's pushing for a Defensive Player of the Year nomination this season, especially depending on how long Wembanyama misses. Because it's his award to lose unless he misses that 18-game mark. Who knows how much longer Wemby will be out. He should be back sometime soon. But Chet Holmgren is pushing for that first time All-Star nod. He's played great on both ends of the floor, and I'm very excited to see how he continues and if he can stay healthy this year. That's been the main thing with Chet. He played a full 82 games in his quote-unquote rookie season after missing the entire 2022-23 season. But last season he had that hip injury that knocked him out for about 40 to 50 games. But I'm a big fan of what Chet's going to do the rest of the way. Now, moving on, we're going to go to the NBA Cup pick'ems. We've done this the entire way, but we've now made it to the knockout stages of the Emirates NBA Cup, y'all. We're so excited. I can see smiles on everyone's faces in this room because of how excited everyone is to cover the Emirates NBA Cup. But we're just going to be picking all 4 games. The first games on Tuesday will be the Magic and Heat and the Raptors and Knicks. On Wednesday, it will be the Thunder and Suns and Lakers and Spurs. We're going to do somewhat speed picks. We're going to do one to two sentences for these picks. All right, starting us out. Magic Heat, December 9th, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Amazon Prime.
I go 3 words exactly for my picks. Cue it, Orlando.
Okay. I'm also going to go Orlando. I have been, I shouldn't say hater, but I have not been high on the Heat all season. I'm shocked that they made it this far. But I think despite the injury to Franz Wagner, I think the Magic are going to win against the Heat.
Cue the song.
Okay, same idea. All right. We like it.
Hot Heat. I'm going with Miami. Norman Powell's going to win this one. I think the loss of Franz will be too big for Orlando. Now moving on, 8:30 p.m. Raptors, Knicks. The Raptors were on fire during Emirates NBA Cup play, but then ever since then they've kind of lost it a little bit. The Knicks are the Knicks. Who do y'all have?
Brunson balls out.
I'm going to go with a similar one. Brunson game winner.
Clutch player of the year.
Mikal Bridges, big time game. It's a straight sweep of the Knicks for that one. But now moving on to the December 10th games. First up, 7:30 p.m. This game will be going on whenever we're on for the NBA segment of Sports Night. So if y'all want to tune into 91.7 FM Morgantown during that, we have some live reactions of the Thunder and Suns game at 7:30 p.m. Prime Video. Thunder Suns rematch of a game that happened last week.
Plug of the day. Good job there, Cody. Cody Burton team.
Oklahoma City Thunder.
Oklahoma City fighting Cody Burtons.
They're making it 15 straight. Or 16 straight.
16, yeah.
16 straight. That would be the longest streak in franchise history. Now, moving on, 10 p.m. Prime Video. Lakers, Spurs. Big time matchup here.
Austin, Luka, kaboom.
I'm really mad at you for that. I thought you were gonna go my side.
Nope.
All right.
No Wemby can't do it.
De'Aaron Fox masterclass.
Austin Reeves masterclass.
Yes. Make him a first-time All-Star. Do it. Come
Big
on.
time Fox. De'Aaron's carrying. Let's go Fox. Well, that's our NBA Cup pick'ems. It's going to be a great time for the Emirates NBA Cup. One last time before we get off, I'm going to actually scroll down. We're getting to the point of the season where it's mock draft time. We're going to have one episode throughout Christmas break because we can't just have dead air for, 3 weeks that we'd be gone, or 3-4 weeks?
Mid-January. Till mid-January.
Yeah, almost a month. So we're going to do like a little episode where we're going to get on either a Zoom call or like a sort of like deal where it won't be the best quality compared to what we're dealing with right now, but we will get some content out. But whenever we come back in session in the second semester, we will have the guys from Kickoffs and Tip-Offs, another podcast here at U92, and we'll be talking about some college basketball players and European players that will be big time guys in this upcoming NBA draft. But go through this mock draft so you all have got quite an idea
Every episode, you should resim the lottery.
Yeah.
Every episode.
Yeah.
Should you resim it? Yeah.
Let's
do
sim.
it right now.
Let's sim this. Well, I'm just gonna say the top 14 odds of the lottery right now. Let me read through this. This is the top 14 teams in the lottery. The best lottery team. Well, the best odds are the Pelicans, but their pick is going to the Atlanta Hawks. The second best are the Wizards. Third best are the Pacers. And the fourth best are the Clippers, but their pick is going to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then going back down from 5 through 14, Kings, Nets, Hornets, Jazz. But if they're outside of the top 8, their pick's going to OKC. Mavericks, Blazers, Bulls, Bucks, Grizzlies, and Hawks. Their pick is going to San Antonio. So let's sim this lottery, shall we? Oh, a lot of jumps. This has the Dallas Mavericks jumping all the way up. I'm going to sim this again.
Wow.
All right, there we go. I like this one a lot more. The Mavericks don't jump up. Okay. This has number 1 going to Cameron Boozer. And the Atlanta Hawks will pick Cameron Boozer at number 1. Number 2, Darren Peterson. He goes to Washington. Number 3, the Jazz. AJ DeBansta stays in Utah. Number 4, Caleb Wilson. He's going to Portland. Number 5, Nate Ament. He's going to Indiana. Number 6 is the Thunder. They get Koa Pete. Number 7 is the Kings. Kingston Flemings. You're going to Sacktown, buddy. I'm sorry. Number 8 is Brooklyn. They get Michael Brown Jr. from Louisville. Number 9, Braylon Mullins. He's going to Charlotte. Number 10, the Mavericks get Jaden Quaintance from Kentucky, who's been out majority this season, so I'm not sure if he'll be even declare. Number 11, Tudane Yasuofo from Baylor. He's going to Chicago. Number 12, the Milwaukee Bucks get Kareem Lopez from New Zealand. Number 13 is a Michigan man, Yaxel Lindenborg. He goes to Memphis. Number 14, Thomas Hawk. He goes to San Antonio. And then outside the lottery, Warriors get Haynes Steinbach from Washington. 16 is the Hawks with the Cavs pick. They get Dash Daniels, the brother of Dyson, from Melbourne, Australia. Number 17, the Grizzlies from the Suns. They get Cameron Carr. Number 18, the Thunder via the Sixers get LeBron Fillon. Number 19, the Heat get Chris Senac Jr. from Houston. And yeah, so on and so forth. But we will go all in on 2 episodes from now on the Flop Factor. We'll go all in on potential NBA draft prospects and break their stuff down for the midseason draft report for the NBA. But for myself, Cody Burton, for RJ Rice, for DJ McDermott, for Brayden Laszlo, this has been episode 11 of the Flop Factor. Thank you guys for listening to this point. 1 hour and 2 minutes was the timer for this one. And thank you guys for listening. And we will see you during break.